Welcome to Breaking the Standard, where we are closing a communication and knowledge gap for the small business government contracting industry. I'm Aubrey Gainford, and today we have very special guest with us, Will Roberts. Will, welcome.
Hey, Aubrey, great to be here.
If you could just introduce yourself for our listeners, that would be great.
Sure. Name is Will Roberts. Currently, I'm heading a ASI Education, which is a YouTube channel where we do a lot of videos for around government contracting education. That's with ASI government. Previously, though, I had a contracting officer background with the Department of Defense. My most recent government job was as the acquisition chief of the Joint AI Center, or the JAKE, which is now the DoD Chief. I always get this acronym wrong. Chief Digital AI Office, CDAO, and did a lot of fun stuff there, including helping get some of their contract vehicles, such as trade winds, going. The last year I was in the JAKE in my government capacity, I realized that one of the major challenges with AI, for example, of procuring and delivering artificial intelligence to the end users effectively, was dealt with workforce training and education. Not the technology, not the funding, not the rules. We really just needed a better trained, better equipped workforce. So I became very obsessed with education, knowing that to me, in my opinion, is the real problem. So I talked a lot with DAU and some others while I was in the government. When I left and joined ASI, which is a company that I had always loved when I was in DoD, never did contracts with them, so there's no conflict there. But I spoke on panels with them and just loved the vibe of ASI and what they were trying to do. So I pitched the idea to Tim Cook, the president, to do this weird channel that provides free videos to the acquisition workforce. So that's been growing into other ventures as well, but it started off as just this YouTube channel, and that was my attempt at trying to contribute to the need to kind of develop the acquisition workforce.
And I will make sure to link Will's information for LinkedIn and the YouTube channel. But it's kind of perfect because what we're talking about today is generating and basically the generation of GovCon and GovCon education through social media. So I love the idea behind this. I laugh at your videos all the time. They're really funny. But like, how much fun is it to do this? And like, I know you started to talk about this a little bit, like, where did the idea come from?
Yeah. So to your first question, it's a blast. It's obviously like with any job, it's stressful. I'm sure it is with you doing this, with you doing the podcast. It can be stressful, but overall, it's fun. Our team has increased. We have about 5 or 6 of us now that are in the videos, writing the scripts. But it's very fun. I think how it started was we wanted to provide substantive education. I'm not a big fan of. I'll be careful how I say this, but I don't think that we are in a stage right now, and I'll just be a little dramatic and say in U.S. history, with the emergence of revolutionary technology, to dumb things down to basics in our education, mandatory education. I'll just leave it at that. Interpret that however you want. So what the workforce needs and is really more substantive, robust education. But it's really hard to. I think part of the reason why robust education is looked down upon with the students is that it's boring. There's slides. There's in order for you to get that information and cram it in your brain, it's usually a very painful, spiky pill of really, really bad presenters, not bad present, but really hard to look at slides, online modules. And so I talked to a lot of people at the JAKE when I was at the JAKE at DoD and education about how can we sugarcoat this more? How can we make the pill easier to swallow? To where the coding itself is maybe entertaining, but but it's subtly hinting at some real truths about the workforce, and sometimes they're pain points, and sometimes you don't even say it. You know, we have a video uh, on a music video on Soul Source. You know, doing a Soul Source act called "Baby You're My Soul Source," like a boy band, and a lot of the stuff, the pain points and the truth that we wanted to express aren't directly said. It's just, you know, it's just, so we're trying to find out ways of still teaching something or encouraging something that that is not said in a slide. So that's how that came about. I wrote jokes when I was contract specialist in my first job. We would do procurement jokes, and do we had a continuously growing Word document where we made really bad jokes, and we would share them with the office. And probably maybe 10% thought it was funny, but we thought it was funny. And so that, just doing the really bad, corny procurement humor started that early. And then I thought, well, you know, I bet we can do this. You know, we can do the funny stuff. And then the other thing that we thought would be really beneficial to the workforce is if we not only do substantive information, but we just call out very obvious pain points in the profession that everyone can relate to. Um, I left the DoD having only DoD acquisition experience and started teaching a class DITAP. And I got to talk to contracting officers, the Department of State and Treasury and DHS. And I just realized more, it confirmed that everyone's got the same pain points at the end of the day. Everyone, there's ugly aspects to every member of the acquisition team, some annoying things that industry can do and that contracting officers can do and PMs can do. And it's just, we thought, why don't we just make this funny, and not in a bad way, but why don't we turn this into something that's kind of relatable and encourage the people in that profession to not be that way.
Mhm.
So we wanted to do that as well.
Well, I think this is going to be a really hard question for you. If you had to pick one, which one is your favorite?
Oh, which video?
Yeah.
Oh, so I like the music videos we do. I was
Hmm.
hoping that the first one we did was got enough views. So just to let you know too, we the great thing about YouTube is they have metrics on data, so we know what videos work and what don't. And
Hmm.
so if we try something new like a music video and it gets no, we have a number of views we want it to get to in a day. And if it doesn't get there, we're like, well, it's probably a good indication that we tried. People aren't digging this. I was really hoping that first music video would be popular because I really just wanted to do more music videos, and it was. So we're starting to do more, and there's actually one next week that we're releasing based on a Red Hot Chili Pepper song. Um, but I think my favorite is, there's one about FAR Part One, and it's called I think it's called like "What If the FAR Was a Play." And it was like FAR theater. So it's a theater critic who is taking the FAR, the book, and he's going to the stages across the government where the FAR story of the FAR is acted out. And so he's sitting there with his opera glasses, watching real office scenes of PMs and COs not treating each other, in the best way, or not working as a team. And my conclusion as a theater critic is like, this is a fascinating radical interpretation of the FAR. It's like, and so then I talked to the theater director about why these theaters are deviating from the story. And so the whole learning lesson is, part one talks about how we need to work together as a team. We need to be creative. The CO needs to be empowered
Hmm.
um, to make decisions within his or her area of responsibility, which is usually not happening in contract offices. There's very little trust given to COs. So we just kind of really expose all that and say that what we really have is a bunch of theaters uh, taking the FAR and acting it out, but really deviating from the original story. So I just liked the premise of it. I like how we presented it, and that's probably my favorite one. Not the
I
most
haven't
popular
I
one,
haven't
but
seen that one. The one that I've seen recently was the Western RFI, the sad song.
yeah.
They're all sitting around a campfire talking about an RFI, but it was actually really poignant and very very relevant, because people talk about all the time. You submit a response to an RFI and it's like this big black hole of
Right.
where did it go? So it was just, so I was laughing watching it, but
Yeah.
um
Or even worse, there's that requirement that in order to do a sole source J&A, and most offices, you got to do an RFI first. So it's that kind of that stepping stone to do sole source, which is what you want to do in the first place.
mhm,
So it's just
mhm,
this huge formality, and all these companies are working so hard to submit something that ends up being this formality. Not all always, but and that one we did get flack for. There's some that that were looked at as mean, being a little mean to certain areas of the workforce, and of course that's not our intention. I'm a CEO background. We
mhm,
have caricatures of CEOs who we hope real CEOs in the community who watch this will look at and say, I'm not that person. So it's kind of
mhm.
like the worst CEO you can imagine will do a caricature of that. And hopefully that's not interpreted too much as us making fun of the profession, but sometimes it is.
I think there's something to be said though for, even pointing out like the pain points, because if it's not a pain point on the government side, it's very much likely that it's a pain point on the industry side.
Yeah.
And I think industry probably really appreciates the fact that it's being talked about or brought forward or even like brought up, because I mean, there are some agencies that industry indicates where it's like it falls on deaf ears. So
Yeah.
I think it's probably, I thought it was funny. I think if you
Yeah.
can't laugh at it, then you're taking yourself too seriously. That's,
That's kind of that's what we talked about this a little bit before we were recorded the session, but it's the one of the benefits of leaving the government and doing this from the perspective of a company is we have a lot of freedom. I have a lot of freedom to make content that I would never have gotten approved by any public affairs team in
mhm,
the
mhm.
government. But it's something that is appreciated by the government. It's just a lot of this has to be done maybe by a company. But yeah, no one is, hopefully in the acquisition team, no one is safe from scrutiny, and it's all in good fun. But next week, for example, we have a playoff, a parody of the song "Californication" by Red Hot Chili Peppers, but it's "Dreaming of the Modification," and it's a jab at industry who lowball like LPTA requirements, and they want to get made well on the modification. So it's
Mm,
picking at that. So we're hopefully making up for our RFI by picking on government. By now, we're setting our sights on industry.
that's funny. So do you find, since you've been, in government and now you're on this side, since you've started to create like this media and content, have you found that this has been like a new way to kind of rejuvenate like engagement with GovCon, individuals and like how we can educate them? Like, have you seen sort of like a return on investment? I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
yeah. So it was really when I talked to, so Tim Cook is the CEO of ASI, which is a company I work for, and we're 30-year-old consulting firm. A lot of the stuff that we want to put on our channel is stuff that we would sell as advisory and assistant services. So one of the first questions that we had is we really wanted to provide this info just free of charge, not voluntary services that are inappropriate, but just have a channel. You can come to it, or you don't have to come to it. And that was the first question we had is there, what's the disadvantage of us just doing this for free, stuff that we would normally sell just as a business? And our my leadership, in our company is very mission oriented. So first and foremost, Tim wanted to said if we've got something good to share with the workforce to help increase, just a little bit, help nudge the workforce and maybe higher morale, which is a big focus of what we do. We want the morale to increase, which is why we make, ironically, it sounds kind of weird, but why we make fun of things more, because we feel like morale goes up when you make fun of things, like you elephant in the room kind of stuff. Um, but so we thought as far as return on investment goes, we've gotten some uh, uh, contracts where we do specialized videos for clients now, which is great. We're not going to pass that up, and we will. I'll do a shameless plug. We will, if you reach out to us, work with you on doing a specially tailored video for you.
Hmm.
But that really wasn't the return that we were looking for. The return that we wanted was there are more subscribers, more people writing me, telling me, and they do. I showed this video before the all hands meeting. Hey, this video was great. I used it as an icebreaker. This is so great. Thank you. Please keep sending me the stuff. That's what makes me want to keep doing that. There's actual value to the workforce. And I'll mention that there's different videos that meet different needs. So for the RFI video you mentioned, and we have
Hmm.
our I think our most popular one is this no educational value. It's a joke video about a FAR for kids called My First FAR. Anyway, that those type of videos where we do parodies or commercials, we found that teams and government teams will use those to just kick off a meeting or share, and that's kind of like morale building, and especially if the commercials kind of make fun a little bit of some aspects of the profession. And then I've gotten feedback that people will do that. They'll say, please keep doing this. So that gives us the indication on our return on investment that all of the time we're putting into this, that there are offices that are not only using this as a fun icebreaker, but maybe the morale is increasing. There's a little bit more, people are having a little bit more fun. Other types of videos that we do, though, which are more substantive, where we're just sitting on chairs and talking, less humor, less, we're not dressing up as robots and wizards. It's more like we're just talking. Those have a different value that we've gotten feedback from industry, and PMs. There's a PM who comments on one of our video that said, this has been this is the best way for me to learn this concept. I take, nothing against DAU, of course, but like I take DAU and all that, and this is the best means for me to learn. Thank you so much. I'm a visual learner. I like having a video. That's been awesome. So whenever
hmm
we get that feedback, that's better than the monetary value that we're making from this, which is not much. It's that it's actually helping the workforce.
Well, you can tell, for all of the people that are involved, and I've only gotten a chance to meet and work with two of you, but you can tell that you're all really invested and interested or passionate about whatever it is that you're recording on or, talking about or trying to bring like, to the forefront. So I think that that's, very clear in everything that you've been releasing. So I didn't put this on the list, but I want to ask you this. So what's next? Like, what's the next, like, big goal in terms of, sharing and educating and bringing out content because, you've done a lot so far, but what's next?
Sure. So our goal, it's the we've done some analysis of the numbers. I think there's about 40,000 in the workforce, and about 200,000 or something. I forgot the numbers of overall the government acquisition community. But our goal was to, within the year, get 1,000 subscribers. That'll let us know that this is picking up with enough popularity. We are just shy of that. It's been a year and a month, and I think we'll. So if you're listening, subscribe.
Hmm.
Get us
Hmm.
to 1,000. Well, we're at about 975. So I think the next couple videos will get us to that. And if we kind of have little benchmarks because this is all iterative, so we're kind of doing this with agility and seeing if this works, then we'll talk about this, and if it doesn't, then so once we get to 1,000, that's going to open up a couple things for us. One is that we're going to start a more serious series of kind of mini documentary deep dives. We're going to do our first one. So we film in mainly two locations. One, Jacksonville, Florida, where I live. So you'll see a lot of beach scenes in our videos. And then the other's in Phoenix, Arizona, which is where we can do our cowboy videos and stuff. So in Phoenix, we're going to start filming our first spotlight of a deep dive. And the whole purpose of the documentary deep dive is to this is for contracting officers mainly, to help kind of expose contracting officers about the history and meaning behind some rules or aspects of government contract that are just kind of like in the far in text. Maybe show them, like we have one that we want to do on federal prison industries, and go to the prisons where they make the furniture, really kind of show contracting officers this is what um, is behind what you're required to do in FAR Part 8. So in April, we're going to start our first one, and it's going to be on tribal organizations.
Mhm.
So we're in Phoenix. There's a lot of American Indian organizations and that allow us to talk about the American Indian Incentive Program in Part 26 and some of the tribal organizations in Part 19. We're going to try to
Wow.
talk to some regional offices. And so that'll be way more serious, and hopefully it'll be a little longer, maybe 30-minute videos, but we're going to try that and see how that goes. We also have a members only subscription kind of thing that's coming out hopefully in the summer called the Dojo. And that'll be where you can have access to videos that we don't release on YouTube. We have a whole series on Twilight Zone that we're not putting on YouTube. And so special kind of members only, but also we're turning our videos into trainings too. So we're setting it up where you can get a CLP by watching our Mr. Rogers video and answering a couple questions. And our tagline kind of will be like, if you like our videos, why not get credit for them?
Mm.
So that'll be kind of more on the making money side. We thought, well, if people really do like our videos and they want to pay for something extra, we want to give that extra. But at the end of the day, we're never going to stop the free. We have every single week we release a free video. So the core of why we're doing what we're doing will always remain. It's just some of if we get more successful, it'll open up to other opportunities, but never stopping us doing what we originally set out to do.
I'm really excited in the like nerdy way for the documentary series, because I think that for me, I was always like can you put this in a real life example?
Yeah.
Like the early contracting classes that I had to take, it was like, can we talk about a real life example, not all these like hypothetical things? So being able to see how that actually, plays out in the world is very valuable. So I think that that will be really exciting. So I can't wait for that. But um, I ask the same two questions to all of my guests. So if there's any advice that you would give to the small business government contracting industry, what would you say?
Well, I got to give my shameless plug and say subscribe to our channel. So, but no, I will say all seriousness, we have started doing more videos where we found that a lot of companies they cut through the skits, or that you can see that they don't care about our jokes. The government people will like the jokes because they already know the information, and they're looking for something like a way to do a funny, relatable thing they can share with their team. Companies just want information. So we're doing a lot more videos. We have a new series that's been pretty successful, or has the views have been good, called Acquisition for Dummies.
Hmm.
Like Scott's our camera, he's our producer, and he knew nothing about acquisitions. He's learning, but he's like, why don't we just? He started asking me questions, and I would talk to him. He's like, we just need to roll the camera. So we started that, and that is just us talking through basic rules. So if you're a small business, I would encourage you to check out our channel and subscribe. And just we're going to keep dropping videos. At least we release one every week, but at least once a month will be dedicated to small business education, especially for small business and non-traditional companies.
Mhm.
The other thing I'd recommend for small businesses is it is still a huge hotbed of opportunity working with the government, no matter what administration is in the White House, changing the vibe of the government, either side, whatever party it is, everyone's pro small business. Democrat, Republican, whatever. There are so many opportunities that are even now not being seized upon by a lot of small businesses. So I would encourage you to find those areas to really just learn more about the federal acquisition regulations. I mean, this is kind of seems like sometimes silly, but FAR Part 2 is definitions. I encourage small businesses to just read those definitions of what the FAR Part 2 really highlights the underlying principles of the rest of the FAR. What is fair and reasonable price? Like, what is best value? what is a contract? Read that. And then if you have that come out in conversations with the government where you really understand these concepts and you have that in discussions, in my humble opinion, it really sets you up to be the kind of small business that can navigate around the world, the very confusing, complex world of government procurement, and really help with your relationship building.
I love that. And lastly, if our listeners want to get in touch with you, what would be the best way to do that?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn, even though Will Roberts is probably one of the most common names in America. So you find me on LinkedIn, though. We have ASI Education is on LinkedIn as well. We have a website, which is on our, if you go to our YouTube channel, the best way is our YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
I would say we really take comments. So if you comment a question, especially on our Act for Dummies, we just did a whole hour responding to someone's questions. So comments with questions on our videos, we read those. And then our website takes you to our contact us page where you can set up a meeting with us or a phone call with us and talk about a variety of topics. So those are the best ways.
I'll make sure to link Will's LinkedIn page and the YouTube channel. That way you can go right to it and make sure you have the right Will Roberts to connect with him on LinkedIn. But if you have other questions for Will or for me, or if there's something that you really want to hear me talk about on the show that you haven't, shoot me an email at breakingthestandard@gmail.com. Make sure to come connect with us on LinkedIn, follow us on Apple and Spotify, and subscribe to our new newsletter. Until next time, bye.
Thank you.